Jesus coming back, yeah. Jesus coming in on every side, and Jesus cleaning house. Oh, Jesus cleaning house.
Basic Zulu arrangement, rockin' amazement, Flocko, radiant from heaven to pavement. They phony as a facelift from nothing to play with. Spend time hating it, but that ain't changing it. God give it to me, nobody is taking it. Therefore, moving on the basic stimulus. Standing in the twilight, I'm watching them get it in the walls, trembling in the air, simmering. She moving like more than the ears. Listening, won't now.
Good evening, VC. How's it going? Hey there, once again, seeking a thread. My name is Dom. If you're just joining me, welcome to this channel. I've been pumping out a few different videos lately. Thanks everyone for joining in my enthusiasm, I guess. And I know it's been pretty widespread for the Natural Information Society record, Since Time is Gravity. Ended up selling about 8 copies to various watchers and supporters of that record. So thanks for that. I'm not really selling any more at the moment. I think you can still find it out there. That's just something I wanted to kind of get behind and sort of push out there a little bit, even though it's not new for everyone. Well, I know a lot of you out there were already on the Natural Information Society train. But in any case, I'm still loving it and listening to it all the time. I'm going to say it'll be a record that's going to be with me for my lifetime. And a group and a sound that's going to be with me for a lifetime. Like the kind of thing I'll never not have close by. So I'm excited about it. So with this video, I wanted to show sort of a variety of, more stuff from 2022 that I'm still digesting. And I'm going to start to sprinkle in some 2023 records. That I've been getting over the last almost halfway through the year. And the next video is where I'm going to really sort of dive into that targeted list of releases, so you can start seeing what I've been bringing home from that list, including some other 2023 nice pieces. All right, let's start. Yesterday, Mother's Day, I was revisiting with the mother, someone who certainly was a lover of Mother Nature, Laura Allan, Reflections, on the Unity label from, I believe it's 1980. Yep, Chris Cole, longtime favorite, one of his favorite records I know, and one that I was familiar with just in reputation, but speaking with Chris, I started to investigate it some more, and I love it. Her vocals, maybe not for everyone. It's very much new age vocalist, but the music to it is just spellbinding, we'll say. But I'm okay with the vocals too. It's certainly new age music, but this is the kind of stuff that's more in that cosmic psychedelic realm that I'm always looking for. So it was revisiting this one last night. With Paul Horn, of course, on this one. You have Jeffrey Chandler, synthesizer, Dallas Smith, the Lyricon, Kent Middleton bells, and Allan primarily playing zither. There's a Gramavision reissue of this too, which is starting to go up in price too, and then she has some other records that are very cheap, but I recommend it. And a good record for all the moms out there. A couple. I'm going to sprinkle in some like new releases this year too. This is the Kot Kot LP Epany. Stunty did a fine job. I'm going to link to his interview of Kot Kot from a few weeks ago. Lena Filatova. This is her debut record. It's recordings over the last 5 years, and she is Russian but living in Germany. And this is on the Aguirre label. Now, this one is interesting because this is already well out of print and going for high sums. It's got the insert. These are Russian old magazines from the 1890s, Russian illustrations. And yeah, I think they only made 300 of these. I don't know if they're going to repress it, but check out the interview. I mean, she's alluding to new music and some other music, and she's collaborated with other artists. But this one, it's really, I mean, I don't know, I guess it's kind of been hyped, so certainly by Stunty, but from others too. It lives up to the hype. I absolutely love where this goes. I mean, it's that creaky kind of lo-fi, experimental, I won't call it pop, but sort of little ballads, little sort of lo-fi ballads. I think of the duo Coco Rosie, though it doesn't quite sound like that. It has a similar texture and tone. Yeah. Cindy Lee, if you know this project that's been going around, Patrick from Women, that reminds me, but really pretty spectacular sort of little journey this one takes you on. And yeah, like I said, don't know if they'll repress it. You can stream this digitally. Maybe the price. I got lucky. What happened with this one is we pre-ordered this for Angry Mom. I only got one copy, and since my hours at Angry Mom have been pretty limited, it came in, and my buddy Adam, he took it home. I hadn't put my name on it, but you know, in any case, it came in. He took it. Good for him. I was able to find it not too long after, a little bit over what it was going to be in the store. So fair price, but I had to get it from Europe. So I had to pay to get it from Europe, but it was completely affordable compared to where it is now. I think it ended up being about €40. Anyway, Kot Kot Epany, Lena Filatova. Look her up, and hopefully we'll see more music from her soon, and I'll link to that interview that Stunty did. Here's another one Chris Cole completely flat out recommended to me, and this is great. And I think we're going to hear some of this after, when this other record's done playing, which I'll tell you about in a second. But this is Papete, Berimbau e Percussão, Brazilian from 1975. Definitely living in that, Brazilian pop era, sort of fusing different elements of Latin music and sort of pop music of the day, but it goes into some weird and unexpected territories, and that's where I'm interested. Brazilian pressing on the Discos Marcos Pereira label. And yeah, I'm going to play, I think it's after this next record's over, I'm going to play a bit of that, and there's the label. So I'm going to keep this out, but beautiful. I got this year. In fact, this was, I think, I forget if I got this on Discogs or eBay. Very fair. Nice, to have it shipped from Brazil. This is like $30 or $40, I think it was. So, yeah, I highly recommend this if you like that traditional Brazilian or late 60s Brazilian sound, a bit of the Tropicali thing, but definitely going to a Marcos Valle or Chimaya, sort of strange territories. So I'm going to keep that up and play that a bit in a second. This is what we're listening to right now, Dr. Dancing Mask by Neil S. Kvern on the Freedom to Spend label, a label I almost 100% just go for. This is a new release, a cassette that was out in, I think it's 83, it says, out of Seattle. And you're hearing it. It's a one-man sort of I wouldn't call it quite a tour de force. It's certainly a noodle affair. We'll call it a noodle affair. And I love that. I love a good noodle affair. Niels Kvern's piano, tempura, marimba, recorder, desk lamp, metal fish, voice and effects. You do have some other people on here playing guitar, drums, and different percussion. Yeah. Just a cool little journey. I like these sort of records that come from the mind of almost a solo record. I like these solo, multi-instrumental records. I think this is still available if you're liking it. So this is a Niels Kvern Dr. Dancing Mask. It's just sort of on a plain sleeve almost. The excellent Freedom to Spend label. All right, some serious jazz heavyweights, or pretty serious. These are from Carolina Soul over the last 6 months. I didn't have to get too crazy on these, I don't think. But titles I wanted for a long time. I never get to see, or haven't seen anything recently, from Ahmed, Abdul-Malik. Finally got my first record of his. I know I'm a little bit late to the party on this one, but I don't give a shit. I just haven't been able to find him. Jazz Sahara, his first LP on the Riverside label, original mono, deep groove. This was like 55 at auction, and because the condition was not listed as great. In fact, I think they had it as a good plus. But for me, knowing that it's a late 50s pressing, I know that a VG minus or good plus is going to probably be pretty better than that, or getting towards VG or VG plus in terms of the audio, and it plays beautifully. Hardly any noise on this. So I think around 55, I ended up getting this at auction. And this is what it is. It's jazz meets Middle Eastern music. Ahmed Abdul-Malik. Very small recording career. He had those records on New Jazz, which are much harder to find. He had these few on Riverside. I'd like to get, hopefully I'll get the other ones soon enough. But he's playing oud and bass. Bass is also one of his primary instruments. You have violin, qanun, darabeka, drums, and Bilal Abdurrahman playing the doof. Yeah, this is such beautiful, enjoyable. It's totally an immersion of jazz and those Middle Eastern sounds. It is what it sounds like. I'm not giving it a great description. Of course, with Johnny Griffin on tenor. This is not a new record for many of you, so you know this one. I won't get too crazy about it, but of course that beautiful Riverside sleeve. And the other two I got from Carolina Soul are, for me, now I didn't know these records incredibly well, but I knew them enough that they were like records I was searching for. And Carolina Soul, these two copies are just beautiful. Happy with the price I got them for. The two, of the era anyway, Bobby Bradford and John Carter, the quartet, and then just, not quartet here, self-determination music. I'm looking for the third album too that Sherv just showed from his great London trip. Is on a different label, I believe. Anyway, I just have to show these sleeves. I was so happy with what the condition on these was. And Carolina Soul you can usually rely on for their condition. Self-determination music. This is from 1969 or 70. They're both from right around that time. Just stunning. John Carter, tenor on reeds, and Bobby Bradford, the trumpeter. Beautiful. On this one, self-determination music, you also have... Where's the other personnel? Are they even on here? It's not just a duo. Anyway, in any case, what I love about these records is the rhythm section. Super round and beautifully buoyant, bouncy bass, especially on the quartet record. But also, these are technically in the avant-garde sphere. However, this is the kind of avant-garde and free jazz that I wouldn't quite call this free jazz, but it's sort of in that era, sort of in that sort of style. This is the kind of approachable stuff that I could see someone like Steve Carlson. You always say how you're not a fan of free jazz. This is the kind of stuff I think you should have a look at. Now, I don't know what other pressings there may be on these. I forget. think there's recent reissues on these, and these are pushing well over $100 right now. I did way better on these two, but this is that kind of stuff that it's free and sort of like spirited and wild music, but it never gets like harsh really. So that's why I say that they're very approachable. Beautiful Flying Dutchman label. I did a quick Flying Dutchman sort of little collection flip for Dave, the VC ambassador. I know he likes those. So super happy with Self-Determination music. And then the Quartet, the Flying Dutchman label. I mean, there's some great stuff on it. Flight for 4. One is from 69, one's from 70. Incredible artwork. This one, the Quartet, is, like I said, John Carter, Bobby Bradford on trumpet, Buzz Freeman drums, Tom Williams on upright bass. Lovely. This one in particular, the bass is just beautiful. It's just so, juicy, ripe. So very happy with those. I won't talk too long about them. I want to listen to these more and really explore them, the sound and sort of the history and the whole thing with these records. But we're going to keep moving. Velez. This came into Angry Mom with Lane Redmond, Internal Combustion. An artist I was vaguely familiar with, another sort of stunty focus that got me sort of more focused on it. This is on the CMP label, I think it is, 1985. It's all of this frame drum percussion music. He actually is American, but this is... I don't feel like he's really known here. I have the Music from Memory reissue of his group that he was in, Musica Esperadica. I'm forgetting the name of it. Very nice, almost ambient percussion music. Glen Velez, Internal Combustion. I think this used to be cheap. It's not so much anymore. But isn't that the story with everything? I mean, that's the game that we play now. Nice record. This is the kind of thing I want to come across in stores, so we'll see if I find any more Glen Velez. Here's one I was joking with some of you about listening to this making dinner, and indeed I was. I was here by myself making dinner. Globe Unity trio, Globe Unity, not trio, this is an orchestra. Improvisations on the Japo label. This also was at Angry Mom, I think earlier this year. Gerd Dudek, Paul Lovens, Gunther Chrisman, Paul Rutherford, Tristan Honsinger, Peter Kowald, Kenny Wheeler, Evan Parker, Albert Mangelsdorf, Peter Brodsman, Bushi Niebergall, Michel Pils, Manfred Schoof, Derek Bailey, Alexander von Schlippenbach. Improvisations. This is definitely free. This is free improvisation. It feels almost like cut and paste music, the way that they sort of sputter around between the entire group there. A lot of people just don't care for this. I know there's a few out there of you who do. So these records aren't that expensive. This was sitting in the Angry Mom bins for like $15. For you to try it, and I just liked it. It's certainly not a daily listen by any stretch, but it just is so... It's funny to feel like it's all edited in a way that it does feel like it's tape spliced together, but it's really just the sound of them smashing instruments against each other. This is German pressing, of course, on Japo. What did I say? I didn't give it a year. I believe it's 75. It's not directly in front of me here. 78. Improvisations. Globe Unity. I don't have a ton of this stuff. Again, this is the kind of thing I want to run into. And it did. I've had this repress or reissue of the first Resonance album, Meet the Resonance, for forever. I've been meaning to spin it. And I got this. I replaced the earlier pressing with the other cover, but I wanted the real Meet the Beatles cover. And this is like the green edition. This music just makes me smile. Similar to the Shags. I mean, why? These are the kind of records I'm like, why did they make these choices? Why were they doing this? Like, who told them to sort of do, ridiculous covers of... I can't even think of anything off the top of my head. They do like the oldies songs in a completely fucked up way. And this is just truly singular avant-garde music. It's... How do you describe the Resonance? It's not rock, it's not jazz, it's not post-punk, it's sort of its own mishmash of found sound mania, I will call it. And I just love this. I have a handful of Resonance records, maybe 5 other records. Certainly if I'm in the right mood for this, it just again, it brings out smiles. This sounds great. This is an audiophile record. Totally audiophile. On the Modern Harmonic label, I have to tell you that this edition, this bright green one, I think it's from like 2021. So that tells you where I'm at. Some stuff just gets buried. I knew this record, but I finally played it. I think that's the end of the side. Alright, so now we're going to hear a side of Papete, Berimbau e Percussão. Here we are. This is what we're playing now. Playing side A. Okay. Another stunt he mentioned here. He played this forever ago, and I had, at that point, had this on pre-order, and I had gotten it, and this one took me a while to spin because it is just a beast of a record, and it's a heavy drone piece essentially. I wish I knew, Stunty, what your... Like, I want to refer people to your feature on this, but I'm like, where the hell is it? It's on one of your live streams. But this is the Terry Jennings archival piece. Well, no, not really archival. So it's a Terry Jennings composer connected to Lamont Young and sort of the other experimental Tony Conrad, the Theater of a Turtle music, connected to those composers. It's his piece for cello and saxophone, arranged by Lamont Young, but played by Charles Curtis, the cellist, in 2016. A new realization in just intonation for solo cello. So arranged by Lamont Young, composed by Terry Jennings, and played on cello by Charles Curtis, another great, who's got a great recording history. I don't have much of his work, but this is all about intonation and sort of tone and tonality. It's on the Saltern label for this, from last year. And this is Terry Jennings in, 1960 it is. Produced by Yoshi Wada's son, I believe it is. Beautiful pressing on the Saltern label. If you like sort of, and there's no, as it says here, for piece for cello and saxophone, no saxophone on this. It is all cello. And it is 4 sides of cello. And I like it. I don't know if this is still available. It might finally get a print, but look it up, check it out. It wasn't cheap or anything. The kind of thing that I'll read to listen. This is something I'll listen to reading. Yeah. Beautiful stuff. There is a lot of info in this. I won't take it all out, but again, look for Stunty's stream on this. It's all just essentially 4 sides of this. and a lovely sleeve. Oh, here I kept the hype sticker on. I'm pulling, like Bob Bradley. I liked your idea about taking hype stickers off and putting them on sleeves. So I've been doing that from time to time. If I can get the sticker off right, I put it right on the plastic sleeve. I like it. I like Bob. I hadn't thought about that. I was usually so precious with shrink, but with new records, I care less about the shrink. First ever release of legendary composer Lamont Young's extended, justly tuned arrangement of lost American minimalist Terry Jennings' visionary 1960 composition, Piece for Cello and Saxophone, performed by renowned cellist Charles Curtis. Not anything. I know my hype stickers. Okay. Here is a record store day title, but from Black Friday, one of the few records I took home. I don't know if I showed this. I don't think I did. From the Black Friday. And another one I kept the hype sticker on the sleeve. Now again, Stark Reality. To me, when I saw the list for Black Friday, I was like, this is fantastic. Or, I'm so happy they're doing this because, number one, this is like a 4-figure album. This 1970s Hoagie Michael music shop by the Stark Reality. Their soundtrack and sort of all the songs they wrote for the TV show that did it air? I forget if it did air. Music from the WGBH classroom television series, and it's just like the most out there jazz psychedelic rock that you can imagine, with John Abercrombie on guitar and Phil Morrison, Monty Stark, Hoagie Carmichael. There it is. Vinnie Johnson drums, but it's Monty Stark as the sort of band leader. And this is a new cut. This was a Bernie Grundman actually, analog remaster. So I was like all in on this. I was like, thank you. Like, this is the kind of stuff I want to see, because the various pressings of this reissues are sort of either not available, expensive, or not great. So yeah, this is originally on the AJP label, Ahmad Jamal Productions, his record label. Very rare. You do see it from time to time. It has come up for auction here and there, but it's a spicy meatball. And again, if you like jazz rock but way fucked up, the idea that this is on a children's TV show is fantastic. Yeah, wild stuff and really cool and interesting. It's got that distorted electric piano that Monty Stark is playing, and just super funky backbeat. Abercrombie's, I'm not always an Abercrombie fan. I talked about it on the 11 Jazz Records, the Pictures record with Jack DeJohnette. He's slaying it on this one. Stark Reality. Again, with these Black Friday, this may be sitting around in some stores, maybe not discounted yet, but you could probably find this on Discogs or eBay for $25 to $30, I bet. Lacquered by Bernie Grundman and all analog transfer directly from the master tapes. And it has a nice booklet.
Booklet. 1, 2, 3, 4.
How do you do? It's an unexpected pleasure. Are you from the school around the corner?
Yeah. Everybody's busting out of doors.
Here's something different. This was sort of a gift from my wife, but we both love this record. 2009, Mos Def. His last record on a Mos Def, under that name, the Ecstatic. This is on the Downtown label. And now this is, the original pressings of this go for a lot. It's pretty straight, just two record set. I kept the hype sticker on this. Now, the reissue was even going for a lot of money, and I found that the Philadelphia Music, that Discogs seller, Philadelphia Music it is, their retail store is called Beautiful World Syndicate. Their eBay page, I think it was just Beautiful World, had like 10 dead stock copies of this for like $40 make offer. I made an offer for $30, and they took it like instantly. And these reissues are selling, they're out of print, and they're They're like $60. But I wanted to get this because the song that we love so much came up. I forget where. It might have come up in a Spotify playlist. Quiet Dog. Where is it? Track 10. Quiet Dog, Bite Hard. Absolutely killer. I'm gonna put it in. Just super rhythmic and bass forward and just simple. Oh, the whole record is really good. 2009. It's got a very loose and free and not fussy at all. Like it feels like he just really was keeping it really basic in such a great way, and sort of letting the instruments really, and the rhythmic aspect to this music really, lead the charge here. Georgianne Muldrow's on one of the tracks. After this he was going by what is he going by now? I forget what he's going by now. Mos Def, 2009. Oh, see if you can find more copies of this. Don't overpay for it. I mean, hopefully they'll repress it, because the reissue is not from the same year, 2009. It came out like 5 years later. So, a couple more. The new record by Bill Callahan, Reality, or as it's known, Yitalar. Okay, I don't know that I'm a huge fan of this record. Now, it sounds great. It's got all the hallmarks of what I like about Bill Callahan. I enjoy it, but I've listened to it 3 or 4 times now, and I'm a big fan of Smog and Bill Callahan. If you don't know, I have like everything over there. He's almost sort of like reinterpreting himself now, or almost presenting what he does as a caricature, with his sort of his talk-speak sort of style is maybe becoming a little bit too forward, a little bit too much of his modus operandi now, where it's like the songs don't feel more, it almost feels like he's doing spoken word at times, and it's maybe too much of that. Gold Record had that, and it was done to a beautiful way, and I love Gold Record. It wasn't too much of that. And this one now, maybe we're starting to get into the too much territory. Like I said, 3 or 4 times into it, I don't see my opinions really changing on it too much. I'm happy to have it because I do love the man, Bill Callahan. I don't know. I know Mazzy was a huge fan of this, or is a huge fan of this. And I know he likes all the other stuff too, Mazzy. But yeah, this one I just don't think is his best work. In terms of Bill Callahan, I would go with Apocalypse or Sometimes I Wish We Were an Eagle. In terms of Smog, I'd go with like Supper, or I would go with Supper, or even the last record under Smog. Everything's sort of A River Ain't Too Much to Love, or Dongs of Devotion. A couple more. I've been bringing home as many Fugazi records as I can find. I've always had their stuff on CD mainly, and not even all the CDs. Dave, I know, is out there trying to collect all of the Discord records. My friend Joe here in town is also trying to collect Discord. I am not collecting Discord, but I'm just, when I see the Fugazi records come through, I grab them. This one was not. This is from a collection I bought about a few years ago, and this is an earlier pressing. If you don't know, a lot of the ways to identify Discord records is by how much the postage paid price is. So this is a $9 post paid from Discord. So I think this puts it early 2000s. From 1991, Steady Diet, Nothing. Of course, recorded at Inner Ear. I mean, all the Fugazi records are absolutely worth having. I don't know if this is my favorite, but it's great. Fugazi's not a band that I was listening to like all of my friends in the early 90s. Not a band I was listening to. I didn't have anyone totally present them to me, or I didn't find it as you had to back in the day. I found them much later. Around the time of, around the 2000s time is when I found Fugazi. And as I've said in some previous videos, I've been revisiting some Miles Davis. I've seen Steve Carlson find Big Fun and some other Miles Davis related stuff. This is Agartha, one of his mid-70s way out there records. It's the white label promo. Did I show? I hope I did. Did I show this one? I think I showed Big Fun last time. Anyway, the band on this one is Miles is playing. So one of the things about this is Miles is playing organ, and he's playing some really indignant organ. He's almost slamming on it. Slamming on it like he's like, screw you, I'm playing organ, I don't give a shit. Just kind of stabby chords the whole time. So this one is, I mean, all these mid-70s Miles records are just, you need to just experience them. You need to just sort of take them in. Sonny Fortune, I talked about him in that jazz video. Soprano, sax, alto, flute. Michael Henderson, Fender bass. Pete Cozy, who turns up on, along with McLaughlin, on a lot of the Miles stuff from this era. Guitar, synthy, percussion. Al Foster drums, Reggie Lucas guitar, and Ntume on percussion. From 1976. Miles Davis at Aguirre. And that's where we'll leave it. I hope you enjoyed that array of variety. Try to always put a good mix of variety. Like I said, the next video I'm going to do, I'm just waiting for one little thing to finish up, is I'm going to explore that list of 23 records for 2023 and show you an update of how many of those I've gotten, if any. I've gotten some. And so we'll explore those, and I'll also show some other records that could have been on that list that I've gotten this year, of stuff that I wasn't planning on getting, but did. My projection's not going to work. Anyway, take care, VC. I hope you're doing well out there. Be well.